Hey there, I wanted to go ahead and give you some information about your group projects, tell you a little bit about them, about your groups, and then just where you can find everything on Canvas. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you where I have these things in Canvas, and also I'm going to read the assignments out loud to you. Okay, so first things first, if you are just looking for your group, when you log into Canvas, you just go to the tab marked people, and when you click on that, it's going to take you and it's going to show you everyone's name, but then click on the tabs marked group, and you'll be able to find your group and your teammates there. All right. And I just assigned them randomly to you in Canvas. So you're either in a group of 4 people or 5 people. All right. And then for each group, you kind of have your own little Canvas page there. Okay. Announcements is a kind of a cool tool. If you post an announcement, it's going to send it to everybody in your group. It works the same way as when I do them for the classes web page. So that's a good place. If you need to send out something to everybody in your group, just post it there under announcements. Pages, you can create pages within this if you want, within your group section. I don't require that. In fact, I don't require anything to be posted on this particular tool. It's just there for you to use. People will show you a list of the people in your group. Discussions, if you want to set up a discussion board, which I've seen some groups use where they'll talk about ideas for their project there, you can go ahead and do that. And as far as how you communicate, that's completely up to you. You may want to use this initially to reach out to everybody. And I know in a lot of cases in prior classes, students will just set up usually group texts or something like that. Files, if you want to upload files for people to see and work on, you can do that here. The other alternative to that is I know lots of students will just set up a Google Docs page for everybody. And conferences and collaborations, you can play around with those a little bit if you want. That's a place for you to, if you want to set up online conferences and things of that nature. One of the things I would actually recommend that you do, since at the end you'll be presenting on via Zoom, is if you go to the beginning of the info in this particular class, the place where I have Zoom lecture recordings in the modules, there's also one there that says student Zoom accounts. And if you click on that, it tells you how to set up a student Zoom account. So you could hold your own meetings via Zoom and practice and all that stuff. Also, these are through the community colleges website and that sort of thing. So one of the things that's nice about these is they don't limit you time-wise. I know sometimes the kind of the basic Zoom account that people were setting up all throughout this last year for all different things kind of limited people time-wise. But that's there and that is available to you. So again, you've been randomly assigned to a group of 4 or 5 students and you've got your own page in there, okay? You'll have 3 separate things that you'll be doing, a proposal, a presentation, and then a report. The presentation, obviously, you're going to be doing live via Zoom. There's nothing to turn in. But what you will be doing is the proposal and the project, or the final report, I should say. Both of those you're going to submit through Canvas, just like your other assignments, but only one team member needs to submit the assignment on Canvas. All right. So here's just some of the information for you. So the groups have been assigned. I assigned them today, so they're set there. So you're going to have 3 things. First of all, proposal. Your group will write a 1-page proposal in business letter format, in a business letter report of your group project. All right. And I have examples of that for you as well. Your proposal is going to include the purpose of the report, the problem you're trying to solve, the question you're trying to answer, and I'll ask you, so maybe what topics are you going to be analyzing, and then why are you analyzing those topics? Why did you select those things? A little bit of background information about your topic, all right? Who's your audience? Who is this geared towards? And then finally, your research. Where will you obtain the information for your report? What are your sources? I think in most cases, people are going to write internet sources. I also like people to, whenever possible, use some primary sources, which means you did the research. So a quick survey, some interviews, something of that nature. And that's the information I'm looking for in the proposal. It's just one page, probably be just a couple paragraphs. And it's just one per group. And in the actual proposal assignment, it's due Wednesday, July 21st. Like I said, it shouldn't take too long to do that. It's simply a paragraph. But in there, I also have an example of a proposal that someone wrote. So for instance, going back to those questions that I just mentioned, you know, what's the purpose? What are you trying to solve? I'll give you a really good one. Last semester, I had a group who they sat down, and I know it sounds kind of silly, but I always tell people you can analyze or research anything where people spend money is fair game. So for instance, I'm not sure how they came up with it, but they actually analyzed what's the best laundry detergent, you know, what gives you the best bang for your buck, you know? And so what topics will you analyze? I think they came up with 3 or 4 brands. Why were they analyzing those? They were 3 or 4 of the top brands that people use. You know, in the background information, you know, this is stuff you can find really easy online. You know, how much does it get used? You know, the average American uses X amount of laundry detergent each year, et cetera, et cetera. People spend this much money on it. We all hopefully wash our clothes, right? So that was just a little bit of background information for that. In their case, the audience for the report, I believe it was families. They geared it towards families. You could gear it towards, you know, college students. So, and sometimes you might have some different things that you're going at there. You know, there's certain products, probably not laundry detergent, but, you know, let's say it were, I don't know, cell phone plans or something like that. You could look at it from a different perspective. You could say this is geared towards individuals. You could say towards families, or maybe it's towards businesses, right? And then finally, the research, again, they got it online, and I think they did some surveys. But that one-page proposal is due Wednesday, July 21st, and it's one per group, all right? Oral report. So each group is going to present a 10 to 15 minute individual presentation based on the written report. So that's about 2 or 3 minutes per person. All right. You're going to present via Zoom to your instructor, to me, at a scheduled time during the final week. All right. Each group will use PowerPoint or other presentation software. Google Slides is probably actually more prevalent now to present materials during the presentation. All right. And you'll be presenting them through Zoom. All right. Try to limit your presentation to 10 slides or less. Okay. And the reason that I say that is, number one, I think it keeps things short. You keep people's attention when you keep things a little bit shorter. And, you know, also it's only 10 to 15 minutes. I don't want you overwhelming your audience with 30 slides. And I'll talk a little bit more about that part of things too. You know, one thing I always like to say is keep your slides simple, because you're going to be the person who's presenting. You're the star, not your slides. But that'll be during the final week of the course, which is August 2nd through 6th. And I will make all kinds of time slots available Monday through Thursday of that week. I'll probably set the signups in about 2 weeks. But so you might want to talk about that with your group, with people's work schedules and everything else. I'd like to do them in the evenings, again, Monday through Thursday, the week of August 2nd through 6th. But I'm pretty flexible. Again, if somebody wants to go some point in the daytime, I can do that as well. A written report, this is the final thing that you'll turn in. It says you'll write a well-researched analytical report on a business issue. You choose your own report topic. And I do that, again, because I think anything where we spend money, that's fair game for a business topic. And also, I think if you select something that you're interested in, it makes doing the work easier, right? If you're actually interested in the topic and engaged in it. Or maybe it's something where you have knowledge. It's not uncommon for people to use, you know, maybe their workplace as an example of something like that. You can choose examples, again, from any of your courses. For instance, business, accounting, or econ courses. Maybe there's something that has come up in some of those previous courses for you that'll work. And one of the things, again, that you'll do is you're going to submit on July 21st, a project proposal. Okay. And I think what that does is that helps everybody sort of narrow down their topic and focus on what they're doing. If there are differences between what you put in your proposal and how it actually turns out, you know, maybe, you know, sometimes it's like, yeah, we thought we were going to go about it this way. We ended up going this way. That's fine. If it changes between the proposal and the final report and presentation, I'm fine with that. Sometimes I've had groups change topics altogether, you know, not just adjust a little bit, change things altogether. And again, the report grade will be based on the content and organization of your report. Grades may be adjusted based on the evaluations you receive from other members of your group. And that's all due on Friday, August 6th. Because one of the final things that you'll do in addition to your report is everybody will submit a self-evaluation. It's a little survey. I ask a couple questions about your group and how people contribute and all that. My hope is, and you can never, you know what, it's never perfect how the workload works out. You know, if you have a group of 4, it's awesome if everybody does exactly 25%, but sometimes you might have someone who did 30 and somebody who did 20. That's okay. What I'm really looking for are the folks that, you know, kind of did nothing. All right. And that can be, you know, I can figure that out based on those evaluations. That's due Friday, August 6th. That's the final day of the class. And again, you'll be submitting 1 report per group. When that person submits it through Canvas, it populates to all your accounts. And when I grade it, everybody gets the same grade. Here's a little outline of the sample business report. So you can read more about this in chapter 14. Chapters 11, 12, 13, and 14. If you read those, you're not going to be tested on those, but read those because they give you more information about writing reports. 7 to 10 pages. It says there at the bottom. So 1 page for each item above, 2 to 3 pages for the body of the report. So as you can see there, the first thing is a title page. It's a title page, just like a book. Okay. You know, so there's 1 page out of the way. An executive summary. This is just a short summary of your report, probably 1 or 2 paragraphs. Look in your online textbook. It's got a little more details about that. But what the executive summary does, again, it's kind of like when you're doing research and you see the scholarly journals and things through the library's website. They sometimes have an abstract at the beginning. Maybe it's a paragraph kind of describing the nature of the report. That's kind of what an executive summary does. In business, sometimes reports or proposals for work, things like that, RFPs, they can be really long, 50 pages, 100 pages. Sometimes if it's something technical, hundreds of pages long because there's a lot of technical specifications. The executive summary is for exactly who it sounds like. It's for the executives. Typically, those are the people making those big decisions in the company. Do they want to know the details of the report? Sure, they can read through it sometimes if that's their field of expertise, or some just like to. But the executive summary gives exactly what it sounds like. You're summarizing everything in a couple paragraphs or a couple pages if it's a lengthy report. But that could be just 1 page. Your introduction, and again, you're probably going to take a lot of this from, your proposal, because in your proposal, you're going to be saying, this is what we plan to do. In your report, you're telling me this is what we did do. So in your introduction, you're going to talk a little bit about the problem or whatever information you're providing, your scope and limit, the purpose, scope and limitations. There are, probably 15 or 20 mobile phone providers, but we're going to focus just on the top 4, methodology, how'd you go about researching, and then a little bit of background information. You've got your body of the report where you've got the majority of your findings, and I'd like you to try and include at least 2 charts, graphs, whatever you want to call them in there. And then finally, you'll summarize it, summary, conclusions, and recommendations. And one of the things I like to tell people, because ultimately, I want you to recommend something. That's what we want in the workplace. No one just writes a report for informational purposes. I'm not going to go out and research the major cell phone carriers and go, well, that summarizes all the information for you about T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T, right? We wanted you to research it because we want us to give you an answer. And so you're going to recommend something at the end, right? We feel that T-Mobile is the best product for families because of X, Y, and Z, all right? Another thing that can also happen with recommendations is sometimes you can have multiple recommendations in there. It could be possible that, and again, I'll use the cell phone providers as an example, and I don't know, to be perfectly honest, the difference between some of them. I just pay my Verizon bill every month, but you might come back and say, if you're trying to save money and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and you have a bunch of people on the plan, go with T-Mobile because they have the lowest plans. If you want unlimited data, go with Verizon. If, whatever, there might be multiple recommendations. You could come back, I definitely think you could have a different recommendation if you were deciding what works best for an individual versus maybe what works best for a business, maybe what works best for a family. You could have different recommendations. But anyway, that's the final part of the writing. Your appendixes, Any additional tables, charts, data, et cetera, that you have. If you do a survey, for instance, and send it out online, you'd put in the appendix, you'd put an example of the survey questions. Finally, the last thing, I call it just a simple works cited page. You do not need to use MLA formatting or APA formatting or anything like that. I know we learn to do that in classes for formal research papers, and it's very important how it's formatted and everything, the citations for academic research. Well, I've never in my life seen, for a business setting, seen somebody using MLA or APA formatting or whatever's being used nowadays. That's really for an academic environment. But we do want to know where you got your information. So simple works cited page, something where you just say, works cited, T-Mobile website, www.tmobile.com, and just list the general URLs. It'll probably be some URLs, maybe some names of people you interviewed, something like that, right? Just a very simple one. All right. Your total for this is going to be 7 to 10 pages. Again, it's 1 page for each item above, 2 to 3 pages, and then about 2 to 3 pages for number 4, the body of the report. Get you around 7 to 10. Okay. When you're done, you'll want to save it. Save it. Probably the best thing to do is, I'm sure you'll be working on it in Google Docs and collaborating and things like that. Just with the final report, whoever submits it, just save it as a PDF and then upload it to Canvas, and I can go ahead and evaluate it from there. So again, you've got a 1-page proposal that's going to be due Wednesday, July 21st. We're doing online Zoom presentations the week of August 2nd through 6th. And then the final report is due Friday, August the 6th. And I'm going to post some more videos for you, just a little more information about working in groups, illustrating data. I know I had a couple links up there to some videos that I'd done before and they were broken. And so to be perfectly honest, I have to go back and re-record some of those videos. So email if you have any questions, or be sure and log in when I do the optional Zoom lectures on Monday or Wednesday evenings, and good luck.